Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. In this video, we are going to build a super simple contact book using ASP.NET Core MVC. If you have just installed Visual Studio and don't know what MVC is, don't worry, by the end of this video, you'll understand model, view and controller and how they all work together in an ASP.NET Core project. So let's get started. So let's start with creating the project. So open the Visual Studio. If you have not installed Visual Studio, I'll suggest you to visit or check out one of my video where I have showed how to install Visual Studio 2022. This is the latest version as of now, and then create and run a simple web app. Once you are ready with your Visual Studio, you can just open it up, and then from here I want you to click here on create a new project. Alright, and from here you can just search for ASP.NET space Core Web App, and then you can click here on this one, ASP.NET Core Web App Model View Controller. Then click on next. Now you have to give a name to your project, so I'll just make it Simple Contact Book. Alright, and then click or tick here which says place solution and project in the same directory. Then click on next. From here I want you to choose .NET 8, which is the long-term support version, and then for authentication just let it be to set on none, and then untick this one that is configure for HTTPS, and then just click here on create. Now once your project is created and it's running, it will look something like this. So let's check out the solution explorer first, and from here we will have a look at the folders and the files of our project. So this is the folder controllers. If you click here on this arrow, you will see that we have a home controller already present here. Now this is where we write the logic to handle the user request. Then we have this folder that is models. Now here we define our data structure like contact, student, etc. Then we have the views folder. Here we keep our front end razor pages like HTML but in a smart way. Then we have this folder that is www root, where we keep all the static files like CSS, JavaScript and images. And then we have this one program.cs. This is the brain of your application. It configures the routing, services and startup behavior. Now you must be wondering what MVC is. So MVC stands for Model View Controller, which we have seen here. This is the model, this is the view and this is the controller. The model is your data. It knows what a contact looks like. Then the view is your user interface. It shows the contact data in a web project or a web page. The controller is your traffic cop. It receives a request and then returns the right response. So this was the definition of MVC in respect to our project. So now let's create this app step by step. Then just right click on models and then scroll to add, and then just click here on new item. From here we will create a new class contact. So you can just write contact here and then click on add. Now this is the contact class. Now here I'll define two properties one by one. Alright, so with this we have created a class named contact, and this is going to be our data blueprint since our model is the way we save the data. So the first line, that is public string name, it defines a name property of type string, and then get and set are the two auto properties. They will let us read and then write values, and then the same goes for the phone property. It will be used to store the user's phone number. Now this class will be used to pass data between the controller and the view. Then after that we have to create a controller. So just right click here on this controllers folder and then scroll to add, and then you can just click here on controller. From here you have to choose MVC controller empty. Then make sure it's MVC controller empty here on this page as well. And then I'll just rename this controller to contact controller. Alright, then just click here on add. So this is the controller. Now under this public class contact controller, we will write some code. So you can just follow me, and after that I'll explain what we have written here. So first of all, I'll just write static space list and then contact. If you're also getting error like this, that the type or the namespace name contact could not be found, then what you can do is you can just hover over it and then click here on show potential fixes, and then from here you can choose the first option, that is using SimpleContactBook.models. So you can just click on that and you can see that the error has gone. So what we have done is we have just added this using SimpleContactBook.models, because our contact class is within this models folder. You can see that from here. Now it's not an error anymore. Now under this method iActionResultIndex, we have the return view. Now inside view we have to write contact list, which we have created here. Alright, then after that we have to create another. So just write public I action result space create. Then here we just have to return the view like this, I action result create, and then we have to write http post, this one, then square bracket close, then public space I action create contact space contact. You can see how Visual Studio auto generates the code for us. That makes our coding really very easy and effective. So you can just press tab button in such cases, then hit enter. Now here we have to write contact list dot add contact, which is already suggested by Visual Code. So I'll just use tab here as well, then hit enter, and then after that we have to return, then space, not the view this time, redirect to action, which is this one, and then within bracket we have to write index like this. So that's all we have to write in this controller. So now let me explain you these codes one by one, and why it's giving an error, because here we have not closed the function like this. Alright, so the first line, that is public class contact controller, it defines that we are creating a controller called contact controller, and it inherits from the base controller class. So this is how we inherit. So we are inheriting from the base controller class, which gives it access to the MVC features like view, redirect to action, and model state. Then after that we have written this line, that is static list. So using this we are creating an in-memory list to store contacts. This means the data is not saved permanently, it is just during the app's lifetime. So whenever we close the app or restart the app, the data will be lost. Then after that we have this function I action result index, this one, and here we are returning the view of contact list. So this method is going to be run whenever someone visits the contact page, and it will return a view which is a web page. So this return statement, here we are passing this contact list to the view in this way so that it can be displayed. Then after that we have created this I action result create. Now here this method is going to be used to show the add contact form, and it's going to return a view that contains the form, and no data is passed here, which you can see from here. Now this HTTP post tells ASP.NET that this method should run only when a form is submitted using post. Then we have used this method I action result create, and then we have passed contact. Now this method receives the contact data from here. You can see it's going to receive the contact data from the form, and then ASP.NET automatically maps form values to this contact object using model binding. And then this contact list dot add, we are using this to add the new contact to our in memory list. So the list that we have of the contacts is going to be populated using this statement or this line. Then after that, after saving the contact, we redirect page back to the list page to see the new contact, which is happening right here. Now after this, we have to create two views, one for index and second to create the contact. So to do that, I'll suggest you to create a separate folder for this. So you can just right click on views and then scroll to add and then click on new folder. Under new folder, I want you to create a contact folder like this. Now inside this contact folder, I want you to create two views. So click here on view. From here, you have to select the razor view empty, click on add, and then the first view has to be Index.cshtml, which is the extension for razor pages. So just click on add, then add one more view in the same way, razor view empty, click on add, and name this view as create so that we can use this view to create contacts. Alright, then click on add. So both of these are created. Let's start with the index. Now here I'll start with at model space list, and then we have to write contact. Alright, I hope you know why I have written this at model. So this line tells the view what kind of data it will actually receive, and from here we have written it will receive a list of contacts, and then let's create one h2 tag, and then here we can write contact space list, hit enter, then create a link and let it point to contact /create, and then here we have to write add contact. Alright, and then we will create a table. Let the class of this table be table. Then we will write for each variable contact in model, hit enter, then tr, which is for table row. Inside this we want table data. First data is contact name, so it's contact dot name. Alright, second data is at contact dot phone. Alright, and then we can just close it. Let me increase the font size if it's not visible for you. I hope it's much more readable now. Now that we have created this index file, let me explain you. So this h2 tag is just a simple heading to show contact list and then a link to add new contacts. Then after that we have created a table using the table tag, and then within that we are using this at for each loop so that we can loop through each item in the list of contacts that the controller sent. In this way we are going to loop through each item and then print it on the screen, and then we are using this razor syntax, these two, to output the name and then the phone number of each contact row by row. Then after that let's open Create.cshtml. Then here as well we will start with model contact, hit enter, and then we will create a h2 tag and write a heading here, add contact. Alright, and then we will create a form here. Let the method be post and then close it, and then inside it we will first create a div. We will create two divs actually, so this is the first one. Then let's create the second one also for clarity. Alright, in the first div we are going to take the input for name, in the second div we will take the input for phone number, and then finally we will use a button to save or enter the data. So I'll just create this button as well, button, and then type equals submit, and then we will just write save here and let the button tag close. Then let's get inside the first div. Alright, here I'll start with a label, and here I want it to be name. Alright, then below it we will create a input. then ASP for, and here we will write name, then close the input tag. Alright, then you can just copy these two like this, get inside the second div and paste it. This is font. You can add a colon here if you wish. You can add a colon here as well, and then after that this has to be font. Now these views that we have created, first is the index view, then the create view. These are using the razor syntax. As usual, app model tells the page what data it's working with. By this line we are specifying this view receives a single contact object to bind to the form. Then we are using form tag, and this form submits data using the post method, which is going to trigger the HTTP post create action in the controller, which we have written somewhere here. Yes, you can see this. This is the HTTP post create method, which is going to be triggered by this form method post. Then after that we have two razor tag helpers, which are these two. They auto generate the name, ID and a value attributes for you. They are connected to the name and font properties of the model, which we have here. These are the name and the font properties, which will be getting connected to this name and then font. Then the button is used to submit the form and then sends the data to the controller. Now let's save all the data first. So you can just click here on this save all button. Everything will be saved. You just click here on this program.cs. Alright, now from here, if you observe these lines of code, so you can see this line specifies the default route. This is the default route which is being specified here. So if no route is specified, it goes to home controller, which you can see from here, and then to the index view. But in our case, we are manually visiting the contact page, so it goes to contact controller. We are not specifying that routing here in this program.cs to make the project simple. So now let's run the app and see if it's working. So either you can press F5 or you can just click here on this run button. So this is the basic website. It's working. We have not done anything here. What I want you to do is just click here on the address bar, then type / and then contact. Hit enter, and this is our contact page, which is connected to contact controller. Now let's click here on add contact. Then we can just add a name here and then write any contact number and then click here on save, and it will be displayed on this contact list. Click here again on add contact. You can write any name, just tap enter because that is the default action and it's getting displayed here. Now few things that you might notice is that we have not added any kind of validation or checks. So even if you want to enter a contact number with alphabets like this, click on save, it gets saved. If you click here, let's say you want to just give one digit, that's also going to be saved and displayed like this. So there are no checks or validation that is happening in the background. So that's a very basic working app using ASP.NET Core MVC, and we have covered models, views, controllers, routing, razor and Visual Studio layout. If you wish, we can add validation, connect to a database and then make it more powerful in the coming videos. So do let me know that in the comment. If this video helped you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe and share with your friends. Thanks for watching.